These drug traffickers live brutally violent and ruthless lives, which are much dirtier than Hollywood could ever depict. Welcome to this YouTube channel. In this video we are going to talk about top 10 most dangerous smugglers of all the time. So before starting this video, like this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future updates. The several jailbreaks of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman serve as a reminder that the cocaine trade is more than a colorful backdrop for famous American TV shows and films. It is, in effect, a vicious, deadly industry dominated by men, and a few women, who kill not only indirectly through the sale of their dangerous goods, but also directly by hired gunmen who bully and murder competitors, government officials, and often innocent bystanders. We take a quick peek at 10 of history's most infamous smugglers. Number 10. Leroy Nicky Barnes. In the 1970s, Leroy Nicky Barnes rose to fame in Harlem, after founding The Council, a well-known criminal, underground gang with connections to the Lucchese crime family, to whom they supplied raw heroin. This contract was arranged by Barnes' associate Matty Madonna, with whom he had served time in Green Haven State Prison for opioid offenses. Barnes gained a reputation as a man who, no matter what he was arrested with, like $500,000 USD worth of cocaine, no lawyer or judge could make the charges stick, and he was never forced to serve his full sentence. He will also take security teams on 100-mile-per-hour car trips into New York City, and then back out again for no particular reason. Number 9. Griselda Blanco. Many of what we learned about the drug trade comes from television reports, and shows like Narcos, which portrays it as a boys' club, where women were treated exclusively as sexual objects to be lusted after, leading to feuds like the one involving Nicky Barnes. Blanco was recognized as the godmother of cocaine prior to Pablo Escobar's rise to fame in Colombia, when the would-be patron was only robbing cars in Medellin. Blanco was drawn into a life where the streets beckoned, and one had to do whatever it takes to live from a young age. Early accounts suggest she kidnapped a rich young boy, when she was just 11 years old, bouncing between pickpocketing and prostitution. Blanco executed her prisoner after the family rejected or was unable to pay the ransom. Blanco's first husband was Carlos Trujillo, an illegal immigrant smuggler with whom she subsequently married, and had 3 children, but then divorced and had murdered over a drug dispute. Number 8. Amado Carrillo Fuentes. Amado Carrillo Fuentes, dubbed Lord of the Skies for his use of jetliners to transport cocaine into the United States, was born into the drug trade as the nephew of Ernesto Fonseca Carrillo, aka Don Neto, the Guadalajara cartel's boss. Despite having origins in the Guadalajara party, Carrillo Fuentes rose to the top of the Juarez cartel, which was formed in 1970, and quickly became one of the most powerful drug trafficking groups in central and northern Mexico. Carrillo Fuentes was a low-profile kingpin who dressed like a businessman, unlike other traffickers of the late 1980s who enjoyed a luxurious lifestyle that appeared to taunt law enforcement. According to the Washington Post, Carrillo Fuentes amassed a fortune of $25 billion during his lifetime. Carrillo Fuentes lost his influence over Mexico's security forces in 1996 for unknown reasons. Previously, he had been able to comfortably influence and bribe them. According to American authorities, he spent up to 60% or more of his billion-dollar earnings in Mexico to buy cover from the army, politicians, and generals. Number 7. Ossiel Cardenas Gillen. Ossiel Cardenas Gillen, a former auto mechanic and police officer, seized charge of the Gulf Cartel in Mexico in July 1999, after assassinating Salvador Gomez, a close associate of his, earning him the moniker Mata Amigos, friend killer. During his time in power, Ossiel Cardenas Gillen managed a massive drug trafficking empire that imported thousands of kilograms of cocaine and marijuana into the Rio Grande Valley of South Texas and other southern states. According to cocaine ledgers intercepted in Atlanta in June 2001, the Gulf Cartel made more than $41 million in drug profits in the Atlanta area alone over a 3.5-month stretch. Cardenas Gillen was also responsible for the founding of the Zetas, a group of former members of the Grupo Aeromóvil de Fuerzas Especiales (GAFE), who served as his personal bodyguards, and later his mercenary wing in his attempt to extend his influence. Number 6. Curtis Warren. Curtis Warren is a well-known cocaine trafficker in the United Kingdom. Curtis Warren, a drug trafficker, was the International Criminal Police Organization's most wanted criminal, according to different sources, Interpol. Warren learned of cocaine dealing while working as a bouncer at a Liverpool nightclub. Warren began drug dealing by taking advantage of his previous job, when he was well aware of who entered and exited the bar. Curtis Warren struck a bargain with the Cali cartel to smuggle drugs in steel boxes, after meticulous preparations. The Dutch authorities eventually charged him with illicit drug trafficking. However, he was released from the same in a shorter span of time. He was then arrested again, and when he could not pay his fine, he was only left in jail. According to several sources, Curtis is the largest drug distributor in the United Kingdom. Number 5. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. Guzman, Joaquin Archivaldo Loera, dubbed El Chapo, Shorty, has an unassuming appearance. He is 5 feet 6 inches tall, middle-aged, and has average features. His unremarkable presence, though, is deceiving. Guzman is the kingpin of the Sinaloa cartel, and is responsible for the majority of the narcotics smuggled into the United States each year: cocaine, opium, methamphetamine, and heroin, both of which are distributed by the ton through complex land and air delivery networks. Guzman was destined for a career in the drug trade. Joaquin's uncle was one of the first Mexican drug traffickers, and he was quickly drawn into the family market. As competitors both inside and outside the cartel were killed in internecine combat, he soon rose to prominence in the cartel. Guzman ordered an assassination in 2006, breaking a cartel deal, which sparked what has become known as the Mexican drug war. About 60,000 people have died as a result of the cartel wars, and 12,000 people have been kidnapped. Guzman has risen to become a billionaire and one of the world's most influential men. On January 8, 2016, Mexican President Enrique P. Nieto tweeted that the drug lord had been apprehended. Guzman was extradited to the United States by the Mexican government in January 2017 to face drug dealing and other charges. Guzman appears in federal court in the United States and pleaded not guilty on a number of charges. El Chapo was sentenced to life in prison plus 30 years in July 2019, along with a $12.6 billion restitution order. Number 4. Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar is the guy who most embodies the concept of a drug kingpin. Escobar's relentless methods ensured a steady supply of cocaine into America, while operating the Medellin cartel out of Colombia in the 1970s and 1980s. According to some accounts, Escobar's operation brought in 80% of the cocaine smuggled into the region, averaging 15 tons per day at its peak. Through suppressing competitors and promoting corruption within the Colombian government, Escobar became one of the world's wealthiest men, with a net worth of nearly $10 billion. Officials who refused to submit to bribes were often killed. He murdered political candidates, prosecutors, police officers, and journalists. He detonated a bomb on an aeroplane to assassinate a presidential nominee. The candidate was not on board, but 110 others were. Escobar would eventually be held accountable for the murders of over 4,000 civilians. Number 3. Dawood Ibrahim. Dawood Ibrahim is one of the most well-known Indian drug traffickers. Dawood Ibrahim, India's most wanted fugitive, is known for his involvement in drug trafficking, kidnapping, and other forms of organized crime. He was also accused of being responsible for the 1993 Mumbai bombings. He is the owner and founder of the D Company, which is linked to a number of other offenders. Tiger Memon is a well-known drug trafficker who collaborates with the D Company. Tiger Memon, regarded as one of India's most dangerous drug traffickers, has been involved in drug dealing and smuggling for a long time. Tiger Memon is said to be Dawood Ibrahim's right-hand man. Police, investigative agents, and intelligence officials are reportedly unable to track them down. They may also be involved in the underground business of illicit drug trafficking. Number 2. Rick Ross. Rick Ross is one of the most well-known drug smugglers in the United States, having established his headquarters in Los Angeles, California. Rick Ross's socioeconomic history is what gradually turned him into a drug dealer. He began trafficking cocaine in order to get a college scholarship. Ross founded his own pharmaceutical empire, distributing drugs not only in California, but also in Texas, Seattle, North Carolina, South Carolina, St. Louis, Indiana, and Kansas City. Ross was also involved in large-scale drug trafficking to New York. His history, like that of the other prominent drug lords mentioned above, lives on through blogs, novels, movies, and other forms of media. Number 1. Frank Lucas. About the fact that the majority of cocaine smugglers are from Central America, the United States has produced its own drug lords. There was Freeway Ricky Ross, a key figure in the mid-80s crack epidemic; Nicky Barnes, dubbed Mr. Untouchable, he wasn't, and Jemica Thompson, dubbed Queen Pin. Frank Lucas, who sold his Blue Magic heroin around Harlem in the early 1970s, is perhaps the most well-known of them all. Lucas, a native of North Carolina, moved to New York, and quickly became involved with local gangster, Bumpy Johnson. Following Johnson's death, Lucas saw a chance to enter the cocaine trade, which had formerly been run by the Italian mafia. He formed a logistics network directly from Southeast Asia, using military connections overseas. Poppies were developed, refined into heroin, and shipped back to the United States in military planes. Lucas himself has asserted that heroin was sometimes packed into the coffins of soldiers being flown back from Vietnam. Lucas was now making millions of dollars a month thanks to the purity of the heroin, as well as his brutal methods against rivals, and the crooked New York City Police Department of the early 1970s. What do you think about this video? Do let us know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.